You know those days, the ones where you just can't seem to get started on anything, and that little voice in your head starts whispering, you're just being lazy. Well, what if I told you that voice is completely lying to you? In this explainer, we're going to figure out why.
Come on, let's be honest here. Have you ever looked at a massive deadline, a kitchen that looks like a disaster zone, or an inbox that's just screaming at you and thought, man, I am so lazy? Yep, it's a label we slap on ourselves all the time.
But here's the thing. That's not the real story. Not even close. What if laziness isn't actually a real thing? That's the huge idea we're going to unpack today.
So, to get to the truth, we first have to take apart what I like to call the laziness lie. It's this myth that's so deep in our culture, we almost never even think to question it.
This quote from Dr. Corinne Norton, it just nails it. According to experts like her, you can't be diagnosed with laziness. It's not some baked-in personality trait. It's a judgment call, a cultural label we use when we don't really understand or approve of what someone's doing or not doing.
And believe me, the roots of this idea go way back. As psychologist Dr. Devin Price points out, it kind of goes back to old Puritan beliefs that being busy was a sign of being a good person. So when we call ourselves lazy, we're not just describing our behavior, we're making a moral judgment. And that totally blinds us to the real reasons we're struggling, things like pure exhaustion, burnout, or just not having the support we need.
Okay, so if we're not lazy, then what is really going on when we keep putting things off? Well, it turns out there's a much better and way more accurate word for it: procrastination.
And listen, this difference is absolutely crucial. The myth of laziness says you have zero desire to ever do the task. But procrastination? That's totally different. A procrastinator 100% intends to get the work done. They just, delay it. It's not some deep character flaw. It's just a behavior. And more importantly, it's a coping mechanism. And here it is, the key insight from researcher Tim Peakle that changes everything. Procrastination is not a time management problem, it's an emotion management problem. Let me say that again. It's about managing your emotions. When a task makes us feel bored or anxious or just overwhelmed, our brain's quick fix is to put it off, just to avoid those bad feelings. We're trying to feel better right now, even if we know it's going to bite us later.
Right, so we know it's about feelings, but what are the actual root causes? Why are our brains kind of wired to delay things even when we know it's a bad idea? Let's dive into the science of it.
Just think about it like this. Our brains are basically running on ancient software. For our ancestors, saving energy wasn't about being lazy, it was about survival. And that instinct is still humming in the background. Then you've got dopamine, that little reward chemical. A huge long-term project doesn't give you that quick hit of dopamine. But you know what does? Scrolling on your phone. And sometimes, honestly, the reason is much simpler. You're just plain exhausted. And then you have all the psychological hurdles. Fear of failure? That's a big one. It's a defense mechanism, right? If you never really try, you can't really fail. But get this, what about fear of success? The pressure to live up to new expectations can be just as scary. And hey, to all my fellow perfectionists out there, you know this one. The desire to do something absolutely perfectly can be the very thing that stops you from doing it at all.
Okay, so we get the why now. So what about the how? How do we actually get past all these roadblocks without just yelling at ourselves to try harder? The good news is there are actual practical strategies for this.
I absolutely love this approach from Dr. Norton because it swaps out all that self-judgment for simple curiosity. So step one, just name the behavior. Don't say I'm lazy, say I'm scrolling on TikTok instead of doing the dishes. Step two, ask why. Get curious. What need is that scrolling meeting? Maybe you just need a moment to decompress. And then step three, create a tiny, tiny plan. Instead of fighting that need, work with it. Maybe the plan is, I'll clean for just 5 minutes and then I'll scroll. That's a win.
All right, here's a little rapid-fire toolkit of other things that really work. Break those massive projects down into teeny, tiny steps. Try the Pomodoro technique. Focus for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. It's a game changer. Reward yourself. Build that positive momentum. And this last one, this is so important. Practice self-compassion. The research actually shows that forgiving yourself for procrastinating makes you less likely to do it in the future. Beating yourself up only fuels the fire.
So, at the end of the day, this isn't about turning you into some kind of productivity robot. No way. It's about building a healthier and way more compassionate relationship with work, with effort, and maybe most importantly, with rest.
Just let that sink in for a minute. In our culture that basically worships being busy, this is something we all need to hear over and over again. Rest isn't some prize you get for being productive. It is a fundamental requirement for being a healthy, creative, and yes, even a productive human being.
This Oscar Wilde quote is just brilliant. We think doing nothing is the easy part, right? But to truly be idle, to give your brain the downtime it needs to process things, connect ideas, and be creative, that's a skill. It's strategic, it's smart, and it's anything but lazy.
And really, that's what this all comes down to. This is the one question that can change everything. So next time you feel that pull to procrastinate, instead of jumping to that "I'm so lazy" conclusion, just pause. Ask yourself, with genuine curiosity, what do I really need right now? Maybe the answer is a break. Maybe it's more clarity. Or maybe it's just a little bit of kindness towards yourself. And that right there is a much, much more powerful place to start.